after this call, for some reason, whenever I come in to do my Zoom, I don't know if it's my settings, it doesn't always show where I can share in my screen my iPad. Sometimes it does, it says select iPad, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know if it's a different line, says a different setting behind it, maybe. And so.
Well, you're signed in your iPad as Chuck Roberts both ways. You just need to make sure you're sharing. When you want to share from your iPad, you need to click share screen from your iPad.
Well, that whole button's missing now, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm afraid that my settings on my end is probably different.
No, what I think it is you just need to be made a co-host.
Okay.
Now try.
Let me see. Hey, I got one more. Still didn't get it, but I've got one more. So whatever that was, it got us closer.
Okay. You may have to log out and come back in.
Yeah, so we're going to make it work. I've got a workaround on it.
Okay.
And so we'll make it work this time. And maybe we can just figure it out going
Hey,
forward.
Gabby, I can see your beautiful face, baby. It worked.
My real one right now, or my
your picture? It's going.
Thanks.
Yep. Good picture, Gabby.
Thanks, girls. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So let me just go ahead and get started while I think I've got this part worked out. I'm just going to click a few buttons here and I'll be ready to roll. And y'all teach me, if this goes well, what is it that you would want to know? And Jen, if you could just jot that down or put it in the comments. And then as we go, if you want anything else, let's just talk through it. But we're on a call about your big why. What do you want out of it? If it goes amazing, what would you want to happen?
I would like to know, I know my big why, but I would like to know how to stay on track with my big why when times are hard. Like when I'm just like throwing my hands in the air, tired, wanting to walk away, even though I know I'm not. Like, how do I still stay on track to push towards that, I guess?
Okay. So now you're going to, let's see, it says host is asking you to start your video. Can you all, there we go. Okay. Okay, so how to never give up. So is it, here's what I want to ask for clarification. Is it you're forgetting it? You're losing focus of it? You're losing sight of it? Or you're giving up on it temporarily until you get re-energized?
I'm not sure that I have an answer to that question.
Okay, so that's where I would ask you to search, because that's the part. So clarity is power, right? We've all been bold, and clarity is power. So what just happened there is there's something that's happening and she's aware of, and knowing her personality and her behavior style, it could be any one of those things based on who she is, right? And that's just a little bit of getting hang around you. That's where we're going to get into the KPA and being able to understand, like, God made us in this industry. He made us a certain way. And then when you go in the real estate industry, there's a million different ways you can make money. There's also a million ways that you can hide from yourself to not make money. And nobody can tell the difference until they look at your checkbook. So if we can find the things that motivate us.
Put on some normal clothes, okay?
You don't have to. Your shirt's off, but if you turn your camera on, it's normal clothes. What about it, Jen? That was your man.
I know. And I am talking to the baby, obviously. Put on some clothes.
Good clarity. Good clarity. I cannot tell you the cold sweat I have popped in my head sometimes. You're going, oh, what did I just do? It's starting to be so normal, like I'm just in with the camera all the time.
Come here.
So
hold on. Say I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Matt, you did good. You just brought a little real humor to us. You did good.
When you
I was
said
not
put on
on it.
clothes. Not real clothes.
I said put on some normal clothes.
It made me wonder what you normally wear.
You can't see my
Okay,
body.
moving on.
He wears khakis. He wears khakis with no socks.
We know each other too well now. This is it's like we're all over at each other's house. So let me move on so we can make sure we hit what we need to. So the KPA and what motivates us is going to be very critical for us to understand. And then having people in our life that reminds us, did we just not find our way because of mindset? And I shared this a little bit with Matt yesterday on one of the calls or in the classes. Is it your mindset that pulled you out of the way, or is it your body set? So the mindset is, my drunk monkey said, "Who are you think you are?" And all of a sudden, my mindset gets into a place that's not good for me to get what I want. Then there's the body set. The body set is that if you make me calculate numbers for 2 days, I will go postal. And I might just I would just go postal, whatever that would mean, right? My body says that I cannot do details and numbers for extended period of times, or it literally will revolt against me. Does that make sense?
Yes, so
God-
you're saying your
Make
mindset,
me do that.
your mindset would be your overall, I'm going to say thought process. You're
Yeah.
not letting the drunk monkey take over. Your body set would be what you're actually doing. And is it getting you where you want to be? Whether it be you enjoy it, you don't enjoy it. Is it reaching your goals and your big why?
No. So your body set is what God made you to be. Period.
Okay.
So God did not make me to be an accountant. And if I attempt to be, right? So he said, knock and you shall receive. But then we wonder, why am I knocking and he's not giving it to me? Maybe because you wasn't meant to have that. So imagine that I've prayed every day, God, give me a job being an accountant. And he's like, boy, you don't need no job being an accountant. You'll kill all your family. And I know you're not that kind of guy. But at the moment that you see yourself in a basement with some little spectacles on in the dark, punching a calculator, you want to freaking get anxious. Son, please don't do that. So since he doesn't direct me that way, he just makes it so my body has a physical reaction at the thought. If we listen to our body and we eat at 11 o'clock every day, I'm so miserable. Well, what am I doing at 11 o'clock every day? So if you'll start tracking your misery, if you'll start tracking the things that causes you stress, guys, I cannot tell you how mentally tired I am, how my body's tired. Like Brad said yesterday, he has 90 hours of time tracked on Zoom calls since last Wednesday. Jen, I'd love to know how many I've had and how many you've had. My body is exhausted. And then when I get off, I know what I have to do tomorrow, and I'm not good enough, so I study all night.
Yep. He's up all night.
And so in that, I'm also having the freaking time of my life. Work ethic is not valued until hard times. Leadership is not valued at the highest level until hard times. Solving problems that I don't believe there's any way possible for me to be good enough to solve. My KPA says that I thrive on it. I need it to feel alive. And now is one that I've never seen and the planet's never seen. And I'm like, how do I help everybody I know make it on the other side of this? And it's overwhelming and it's hard. And I really don't think we're all gonna make it. And then my mom raised me that everybody's got to freaking make it, or your fault if you're good enough to do this. That's my body set. Does that make sense, Gabby? Now, the moment that I train leaders behind me, like in our leadership's getting so freaking good because they have all of those qualities. They take care of people. They have a big work ethic. They want to help, and they're actually abusing their bodies and their minds in an unfair way of saying, I'm not good enough. And they're working and trying to absorb everything they need to know to be better for everybody else, but not necessarily for themselves, which is really cool. that we have that kind of leadership. And as they begin to lead, and there's no more purpose for me to be in that because they're making the right calls, my body says, why the hell are you wasting your time, Chuck Roberts? Go find another problem to solve. Go find another group to teach leadership skills. Right?
So
My
can I
body.
go back to what you said right before number one, mindset and body set? You made a statement / question and you gave those two answers.
Yep. Give me clarity on what it is that you need. What part did I skip over?
You didn't skip it. You just said it and I didn't catch it fast enough.
Oh, so you want me to repeat it? I don't know.
It's okay. I'll watch it back.
No, well, actually, does anybody else know? Or ask me. If you'll ask me, I will understand, and then I'll pop it right back in here. What is
I
it?
asked my question and you said when something, it's number one, your mindset, or number two, your body set.
Okay, so number one mindset would be, you nailed that one. You nailed that one. That's your overall perspective on life. It's either the best of times or the worst of times. If I hang around 5 negative people, I'll be convinced it's the worst of time or too much TV. If I hang around Wyatt and Chuck, it's the best of times. Who do I need to be hanging around right now when I get to pick one or the other? I would hope somebody that thinks it's the best of time and looking for what does that mean. Your body set is when you are made, Gabby, when I'm with you, when I'm in your world, I feel happy, I feel hopeful, I feel excited, I feel like the possibilities of fun and business all at one time, and that's very rare. Like a true joy fun, like almost like ecstatic fun, which is hard for me as a D, and as also my personality. I get so business and so want to win, want to drive, that it's hard for me to just lighten up. I can walk in and you have your feet up on the desk because you just got through knocking out 2, 3, 4 contracts, and you're like, and you pick, and it makes me go, she is smoking her results and she's having fun. Like, Chuck, why can't you celebrate a little bit? Does that make sense?
Yes.
If I took you now and I said that you have to work in solitaire and you can't speak or talk to anybody, I just want you to crunch numbers. I need you to be a bean counter. How long would you make it before you were just in the corner crying, totally depressed?
Not even a minute.
That's your body set. Find everything that makes you feel like that and make a stop doing list. And then in the process, consider, now I don't know that God made you that way, but that's the way I like to think about it. Consider that God made you not to be a bean counter. And if you're the person that is stressing over how your checkbook looks, he probably made somebody for doing your checkbooks, and you're missing that partner to do that. That make sense?
Yes.
So don't steal the opportunity from somebody else to be your who. Use that gift you have to make so much money that you can hire a who and have them in your life. It'll help them, and it'll help you not do what you wasn't meant to do. Make sense?
Yes.
So can y'all see my screen right now?
Yes.
This is a KPA of somebody. What does it say their number one thing God made them to do, and they're a 98% match on it? 88% match.
Coach.
It's blurry.
It's a blurry, Chuck.
It's blurry.
Is that better?
There we go.
KW coach.
Yeah. So just a coach, really. So
Yeah.
when this person is helping people, like they're coaching them on how to think so they get what they want.
Is that you?
No, it's not me.
Oh.
It's not me. I'm actually not a high match on a coach. I'm a high match. It's just not my number one. It's in my number 3. If they're working with buyers, they are alive. Like you can't even hardly pry them out. They're the same, almost same match. Why do you think somebody that's a great coach is also great at working with buyers?
We have to educate and coach our buyers through the whole process.
That's it. Isn't that all we
Working
do?
with people.
Yeah, I mean, we just say, do you want house number 1 or house number 2? Well, why? Well, talk me through that. And then if they listen really well, they would then say through the process, like, but you told me earlier that you said you wanted a big backyard and it doesn't have a big backyard. So is this really the one? It's not. Thank you. Coaches are amazing profiles for that, right? Now, if it's a leadership coach, it could be an amazing leadership coach because she's also an high match for an operating partner. She can coach an operating partner because she can coach somebody like her. That makes sense?
Mhm.
Now, this human should never be a market center call coordinator. She's a 0.04. She should not ever be an assistant, show an assistant, because she needs to be a little bit of a boss. She cannot be an accountant. But now, doesn't every human need an accountant? Doesn't everybody need somebody to coordinate things that they're not good at? So God made her to have somebody else help her if she's in business. And these are all the things you have to be good at in business to have an excellent business. All of those things. So then the question with the KPA comes into play of who is it that if we paired them up, they don't even have to be on a team, but who is it that could cover each other and say, I'm an amazing webmaster, but this lady is not an amazing webmaster. So let me get the lead. I'll get you 27 leads a day. You call them because you're amazing at outbound calls. Now I'm in my zen all day long. I get 20, 30, 40 leads a day, but I don't want to call them because I'm not good at that. She would call them. Now we'd make a boatload of money. Everybody's happy. That makes sense? That is what we're trying to do from a structure of being able to connect everybody with the KPA. Okay, so Gabby, that was a whole lot of stuff about stuff. Does that help you of going, if you're a low match, if we could look at your KPA, right, and after verifying it to make sure that that we didn't miss anything, if we could teach you all things that it says, please don't do it. If you're a medium match is actually, you can do it. It's just a little more stressful. A low match is you should not do it at all. Just don't, because you're horrible at it. Just don't, just stop now, stop. Let that energy that you use and the time you use that you stop to go up and be in your high strength zone, and you'll make enough money that you can stroke a check for somebody and let them do them and you do you, boo. That's where this saying comes from. This lady should do what is a high match. And if she does her, she will make enough money in those things that she can pay so much money for these low things in such a way that people in the low things could make so much money if they did it at a high level that they'd never want to leave her.
So do I have a paper like this?
Yes, ma'am. Each and every one of you. If you've taken a KPA, you do. And if you haven't taken the KPA, we reach out to Jen and she will get you one.
Can
I bet
I
you
taken
do.
it in like over 2 years?
If you feel like, now a KPA is not like a disc where it changes. Disc can change based on where you're at. And if you've been 2 years with your certain personalities will need to, it's okay to take it every 2 years. Shouldn't ever take it more than every 2 years, because we'll start guessing and wanting to make people happy and try to be something that we're not. And that's horrible. Oh, please never do that, because now you're wearing somebody else's clothes and they write books about how do I be me. Please don't pretend on one of these assessments that Chuck would think less of me if I'm not aggressive. So let me pick the aggressive answer so that it feel like he likes me, but then everybody that sees it goes, oh, you're that aggressive person, and inside you're saying I'm not. And they give you the aggressive tasks, they give you the aggressive things, and all of a sudden you're like, God, I hate my life. The world has done that to every one of us. My favorite thing in the world is to be able to help somebody with a KPA and said, does this feel like it's you after we verify it? And they say, yeah. And I'm like, then stop doing everything else. And if y'all have seen the growth in Jen, which has been amazing, amazing. Only thing I've done is said, Jen, stop doing the things that you're not supposed to do and let other people do that. You do you, boo. And with that permission, she just lights up the world. And then she's tough enough, because it says she's tough enough, that she doesn't mind telling me to get out of her kitchen. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's not running this company as the VP of growth in no time. I actually offered her the role this morning because she is so good at taking care of everybody's energy and excitement, helping them lift them up. And the only thing I'm waiting now to see is if she can call you out, Gabby, and say, Gabby, you said you wanted to be you, boo, and now you're in there doing accounting work, beating yourself up. Stop it, which is what I do, right? The other day, me and you were laughing and picking, and I saw something and I just kind of jabbed it a little bit. And then we went back and had fun with it and then walked out. If Jen can't make people better by being like straight, she's only sweet, only sugar, but no reality, which I know she actually can be, because if she can take me on, I know she knows how. Now she'll grow into that. So Gabby, does that make sense? Like, what are you missing? And we're going to go into the big why, and this will take, I wanted to share this with you, but what is it that you're missing in your life that if you had it, you could just do the things that bring you joy?
Big question, Chuck. In admin.
Okay, good. What else?
Oh, there's more than one answer.
Yes, ma'am. I said everything you need.
Systems and admin. Clear direction. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm supposed to focus on, but I guess when you're getting thrown 30 different things, it's hard to know what's more important than the other, even though we know the answer is sales, talking to people. But do we let these 20 contracts fall apart, or do we get more sales?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The answer is yes.
Yes, both. Yes to both.
Okay. So,
Are you made to do contract to close? All that detail, all that in the, you got, yeah.
Go first.
Right? God didn't make you to shuffle papers and follow up on stuff that wasn't making people excited and energetic, right?
No.
So now you're stealing the opportunity of somebody that God made do that. And God made you to close people. God made you to create an environment where one person buys something from the other person, and they have a mutual agreement that they're both ecstatic or at least happy with. Getting them to commit to the paperwork. They sign the paperwork. God didn't make you for anything after that. Get the hell out. Excuse my language. Like, run away. Because everything after that, God didn't make you for, except showing up for closing and smiling for a picture and making sure everybody's happy when you leave. Make sense?
Yes.
Now, the person that handles that paperwork, God probably did not make them to facilitate the stress, the energy, the negativity, the fight, the ego, being the only adult in the room that gets people to get on the same page with care and candor. They didn't make that person. They would go starve to death without you, because they don't create contracts and agreements between people at the level that you can. So every time you're doing their job, you're stealing from them an opportunity to do another contract. Does that make sense?
Chuck, can I say it in the way that Gary Keller says it? He says that your KPA is going to tell you what job you do best. So like Chuck just said, when you do the job that you aren't great at, you're actually stealing that from someone else. But everybody is talent. It's just, you have to find out what's that one thing that they do great. So you fire yourself from the things you don't do great, and you find someone that does that to the 10th power, and be okay knowing that I'm not going to make every webinar. I'm not going to be in every class, because I do have to go out and get contracts and make all these deals work. You can't be everywhere at all times, and you have to give yourself permission to not do it. That's the tough part, because we are pulled in 10,000 different directions, but today, the month, what's my one thing that I know that I'm great at, that if by doing that one thing, everything else becomes either easier or unnecessary. And that may be hiring an admin that wants someone that is a real estate agent. Their KPA says they're the perfect fit for this specific job that needs to learn contract to close. You may have to coach them, and that's okay, but you're not doing all of the legwork so you can go out and keep fishing and keep your deals going. That's the most important part. Fire yourself from whatever those other jobs are that you are not the perfect fit for. That is freeing, and it keeps you where you feel great at instead of doing the stuff that just gets on your nerves or stresses you out at night.
Yeah.
So if we could summarize, and Tiffany, thank you for bringing the clarity in that. Tiffany's good at going straight to the bottom line. Did y'all hear her say that on the call yesterday? Bottom line is, she is phenomenal at getting to that clarity. So I'm going to share this with y'all so that conceptually you know what's in it for you if you get the rest of what I'm about to share with the motivations, with the KPA, and hopefully you'll find your place in the world. Gabby, is that what you're looking for? What is my place in the world?
I know my place in the world. I just
Please
can't.
tell us.
Huh?
Please tell us, because we're your friends and your family. And if somebody hurts you, you tell me and I will come at them if you share something here that should be cherished and not used against you, okay? What is your place in the world?
I am a server of others to help connect. Basically, my purpose is to help people get what they want. I am not going to be the doer of doing that work, but I will find them and put them where they need to be. Potentially, I guess, in relative to new construction, what I like is they're able to tell me all the things they want for how much they want it for, and I'm able to say, yes, I can do it, or no, I can't, but I can do it this way. And I want nothing to do with it after that. Like, I just want to be able to hear people's goals, wants, dreams, and whether they're big or small, from building a house to 20 years from now. And I like to be able to help them get there. And I like to see their success along the way and see them happy. They don't do well if not happy.
Did you say new construction, Gabby?
Yes.
Okay, I love that.
So, Gabby, how much money would you like to make next year? And what is the most that, like, what, so let's just say you had a really great year this year. And then the following year, you had a year like, dang, I can't believe, like, I'm the bomb. Tell me those two numbers. Somebody write it down that loves Gabby as much as I do. Tell us those numbers.
This year, I would say 100,000. Next year would be 150.
Okay. Is there anybody that actually wrote that down that loves Gabby as much as me, or I want to make sure that I didn't? Because if we don't have a who, then I'll write it down.
Written.
You got it, Tiffany? Okay. Thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany, you'll get the second most learning out of this other than Gabby, because you just took that on.
Just know I'm looking down, I'm taking notes. So.
Okay. So, Gabby, your gift of doing that with people and properties and appliances, the particles that go into a house. If you did that with people, where you assembled people together, you could actually be the CEO of a company as big as you can imagine if it was a people-oriented business like Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Which one would fill you up more, to do people matching, where you match one person with another person with a purpose, and all of a sudden you saw them grow and make money and serve their entire family and their friends, and you got to know that you helped them get to 100,000 and to 150,000 and to 400,000, and they get to live the life they always dreamed of, and you helped them do that? Or looking at a house at the end of it and saying, wow, that was a really cool project. It could be both. So don't answer because of what you think I do. You could say I like both of those, or just more houses. Which one would give you more satisfaction?
I think I like both. To me, it's not about just the client or the buyer. It's about knowing the builder and his team or said builders all working together. If we can have one builder develop the subdivision, and then I can call the other 5 builders and say, hey, buy these lots. And then I can in turn sell the buyers, build the house, like all of that. I want everyone to be happy all the time. I don't like.
Now think about how much money here. See, and this is what I learned. I heard cha-ching, 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 ching, 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 ching. And if I was in your world, I'd be like, good God, make the cash register ring and team. If anybody keeps her from doing that, like get in between them and her, because she could make us so much money. And you would be in heaven having the time of your life. And everybody around you would know they protect you. So your only job in my organization would make the cash register ring. And everything it rang, I'd be like, you the bomb, you the bomb, you the bomb. How you feeling now?
Good.
Okay, good. So here's what we're looking at. And I'll go really fast. You're missing a lot of who's, right? And we'll talk with Wyatt about this. He's aware. I've shared this with him. And so, and the cash register's got to ring before you can afford the who's. That's your job. And then the rest you get. Here's the mythical wall that I created. And I showed this to Gary Keller, and I'm actually on the KPA task force now to be able to make match.com. There's a couple of y'all that's going to get this at a high level, right? Because emotionally, you know people. So Jen, Gabby, Tiffany, I can't see everybody else's faces. I wish I could, so I can't. But y'all are built so that you can match people emotionally. Like your emotions, plan with your emotions, and y'all, whee, and you can do like parties and all of that, right? That's what I want to create, match.com. I have 130 people that if they all decided to work together for a common cause with each one of them work, they don't have to be on a team. They can be friendships that will help them get what they want. One setting the other one free, the other one taking care of this, boom, boom, boom. In that, you would have a KPA wall. We would have 130 KPAs. I've got a guy that's building this for me virtually so y'all can see it. It would look like a PowerPoint. It would actually look like a Prezi. In that Prezi, Gabby, it would have Gabby's, right? It would have Gabby and your KPA, and it would say, this is where you're a high match. These 19 things and these 4, please don't do it. And then it would have Gabby's perfect accountant partner for life, we would hope. That way you only have to deal with one, but maybe it's only a partner for 12 days. I don't know. Then if we were doing match.com, because these things are so cool, I literally could say, Gabby, let's just pop up in a coaching deal. Let's just pop up. That's what you're good at. Who is good at all of these other things? Boom, 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 boom. Now I would have a list of names. And I would know exactly, hey, Gabby, can you go talk to them and say, I'm going to make cash register ring. Can you just take care of all of the money and just make sure it gets in my account and I get some new shoes? Like, I just want to make cash register ring and I want to go buy pretty things and everything in the middle. Could you just make it all work like Don Carey does for Chuck? Don collects my money. He counts my money. He puts it in the bank for me. I refuse to go to a bank. I'm not going to the bank. My job is to make money. His job is to count the money. His job is to make sure that my card works, and he manages all of that. And then he gets bonus 15% of what I make. If I make more money this month than I did this month last year, he gets 15% of whatever it is. He watches my expenses, my overhead, my costs, the stuff that I'm not any good at. And he's like, I thought you said you could make cash registering, big boy. And that's why y'all see him give me a hard time. Don Carey is my match in that area. He's beautiful, like hand in glove. Without Don Carey, whole different thing, right? So now I had to find out what he was good at. Now on the org chart for selling real estate, if you want to make $1 million selling real estate, there's an org chart that says you have to have this person, this person, this person, this person. If you pop up one of these, I have it designed. If you opened up and you wanted to be a great buyer's agent, which is this one over here, it would say what your first 100 days are. It would say, this is what you have to do. These are the things you have to master. I could walk over to this wall, find 5 people that are great buyer's agents, say, read this job description of what I need. They'd read it and they'd go, man, that I would have such fun there. I'm like, cool. Now all I need you to do is I'm going to select the one out of the 5 I want. And I need you to go learn all of the things you got to do to master that. These are the manuals that tell you how to be amazing at any real estate position you want. A buyer agent only has like 3. So if the buyer agent that's over here that nobody recognizes, they've been walking by them for days and days and days saying, I wish I had somebody that could close people. Wee. and they don't know what they're looking at. This person over here is miserable because they're cold calling sellers, and they're like, I hate real estate, because they're working with the wrong client. But Tiffany's their friend, and Tiffany's like, if you want to make money, just make more phone calls to strangers that want to sell. And they're like, I hate it, but my friend's telling me that, and she's giving her bad advice because she doesn't know, because you can't see inside people's hearts. Now, all of a sudden, a great coach could see that, say, oh, let's move you into this position. Let's read or study or do these 3 courses. And all of a sudden, that person comes to work every day saying, I cannot wait to talk to another buyer. I cannot wait to talk to another buyer. I wish I could talk to another buyer. I tell you what, when I talk to buyers, I feel so alive. I'm making so much money. I love this. That is this person right there, number 2. You know what everybody tells that person they should do all the time? That is a aggressive listing agent. They tell them they should list properties. There's nothing in there that said they should list properties. That lead listing specialist says that they should take the order, but that's the only part they're good at. What are y'all understanding now? I can look at every one of y'all's assessments. If you have the KPA and you're willing to learn, if you're willing to learn and to adjust and just simply fall in love with the idea that I can help you be what God meant you to be and show you how to make more money in less time with less effort, and you just do the parts that energize you, I can show you how to do that. Because today, when we get through with this, you're going to find out hopefully what motivates you. And then you're going to find out, now I know what motivates me, but how do I do it to make sure that I don't hate the industry because I'm doing it for somebody else's way instead of my way? Which means that your day you'll find yourself, you'll get your big why, you'll be so amazed. I feel so energized. Next Thursday, you're like, I hate my life. I know what I want, but I'm doing it and I'm miserable. It means you're doing it the wrong way. And I can very clearly set and say, if you do it this other way, your motivation would stay. So you'd say, I'm having the best time of my life. That all make sense? Now, here's what I'm going to ask you, and I need some feedback really fast so I can go really fast because I want to make sure that we get through the content of everything we had to do today. You may not understand everything I'm saying because it's a lot to take in, right? Some of you are probably feeling like you just drank out of a fire hose and you're like, he lost me 22 minutes ago. Could you entertain the thought that Gary Keller selected me after many 10,000 hours of studying as a team leader, matching people and all of this stuff. He chose me as one of the 32 to help people get what they want, to share his message of how to do it. And I'm literally on a KPA panel. I'm having conversations with the people that design and monitor the KPA that he created to say, what if it turns into Match.com? And they're helping me create stuff so that we can understand it faster. Do you think I could help you learn how to do the business the way that it would make more sense for you? Or do you think you'd be wasting your time if you spent time with me learning that? Like, you don't have to know why it all works. I'm just going to ask you if you're willing to dive into conversations about it. And if you are, we'll continue having a class that will be all about you and how you can make a boatload of money, be energized every day, and go faster. Talk to me. Is it something you think I can help you with? And is there any evidence that I might could?
Sign me up. Yes,
Somebody
sir.
write a name down. I have a life-changing class for Gabby, and Gabby, I'll teach it as many times as you need to make sure you get it, okay? I promise you I will. I promise you I will. This is my favorite joy. I promise you. Yeah. But right now, it's just me and Gabby.
Well,
anybody else want that? Got to keep, okay? Kiana's in. Who else wants to?
Randall's in.
Now, this is Sincere Grisby.
Perfect. All right, Jen, can you write this down? And I can't see everybody else's face. Y'all just shout out your name if you're in.
Randall.
Jan.
Sincere Grisby.
Gotcha.
Who else?
Stacy.
Matt. Matt.
Okay. All right. So now I'm fixing to move on. And if you change your mind as we go through and you decide you want in and you're on, he didn't say, just put it in the chat box so Jen can keep a list. Now, here's the next question. If you know the name of somebody that you love or you like, or maybe you just enjoy, that's inside of our market center, or maybe they're at another agency, it doesn't make any difference, and you would like them to take this journey with you, maybe because they're like you, or maybe because they are matched to help complement you, can you reach out and ask them and invite them to one of these conversations with us and let them pick?
Yes.
Perfect. Because I know enough of y'all, most of y'all don't match for each other. I've been doing this long enough. I know that most of y'all don't match for each other to get where you want to go. So your people that you're missing, if you put them in this environment, I can teach them and they would recognize themselves. Oh my gosh. And then I would say, well, who else is like you? And they would, well, Gabby looks a lot like what? Boom. That makes sense? So just bring your who's with you.
So
So let's watch what motivates you, okay?
Chuck,
So, Jen, yes, ma'am?
I would like to talk for a second, sir.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Let my D come out. I'd like to share my story real quick of how me and you got connected and realized that we were going to be good for each other. So I came on just being in the office, helping Matt get his license, and I would just show up and do a couple things with him and Ann, and they were going to pull me in, just to help wherever I could help, maybe be Ann's assistant, and so they gave me the KPA. That was my first thing. And they said, okay, do all this. And then we're going to have you meet with Chuck. So, oh, hold on. I want to show you my KPA. Oh, goodness. Hold on. Technical difficulties here.
While she's looking for that, I want to share something that my perception is close but different. She said something that was, she realized that we were going to be good for each other. No, sitting across, I've learned who my who's are, and I recognize them pretty quick most of the time. As she explained and I learned who she was and I saw who she was, I knew that if she showed up and was willing to grow to who I thought she would be, she would absolutely transform my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I have connections with a lot of humans and partners, but there was a real realization of, oh my God, this one could change my life.
Yeah.
And she has to grow to be that person, but she's showing that she would be.
So I guess I just never really knew what I was capable of until I saw it in front of me. So like,
I knew it within 15 minutes, right?
But you had to show me it. I had to sit down with you and you had to show it to me. So, I mean, I always thought I was a little bit smart, but I guess I didn't realize that I was capable of so much. And so once I saw my KPA and I was a high assistant manager, a high assistant team leader, like one. Chuck doesn't even have anything that's a 1. Do you, Chuck?
Not one, no.
Yeah, and then a high general manager, and then everything else is still high, and I've never seen a KPA before, and I only have 3 things that I necessarily wouldn't be that good at: is coaching, a team leader, and a single agent. And so like it was so empowering for me to be able to see this and be like, oh my gosh, I'm capable of it. And after we went over this, Chuck just simply asked me, what do you want? And after I saw all of this, I was like, you know what? I'm capable of wanting anything I possibly want. And I said to Chuck, I said, okay, I want to be sitting in your chair. That's what I want. I want to be in your chair. And he was like, okay, you can do it. And so he saw my KPA and saw what I could be capable of and realized that I could make up for where he is weak, or that we made a good team. And that was kind of the start of my journey. And I took this on December 31st, which is crazy. And so I'm not even that far into my journey, and I'm excited of where I can go. So hopefully everybody, it made sense, you looking at my KPA and what it did for me and what I know that I'm capable of doing, you know, empowering.
I'm looking at my KPA right now, and my world has just been flipped upside down.
Yay.
It really has. We have a lot of similar, but I'm really confused because I think I just need to study it and learn it a little bit more.
No, you don't. Please don't. Be consulted by me. Be consulted by me because you don't know enough to study and interpret.
So I need help, right? Like I really need help at this point.
Okay.
I feel like some of my highs are sort of similar to my lows, so I'm really conflicted.
Good. Good. That means there's clarity that's been eating your lunch your whole life, and I can make it disappear.
Okay.
And the reason I don't want y'all to interpret by yourself is because I've spent many hours. I'm certified with Abelson to teach the disc, right? I'm certified with Gary to teach the KPA. So in that, what Jen said, and there's a little word that you can use that all of a sudden will cause your perspective, your mindset to go to hell in a handbasket. And I don't want y'all to do that. We're not supposed to release those pages to anybody until they understand what I'm teaching them right now.
That's right.
Jen, in all of her brilliance, one thing that, and she just hadn't learned this yet, but she says, Chuck's not even high. He's not even a number one at all, right? That would lead somebody or me, not knowing what I don't know, to believe that I'm less than. Is that fair? She was just doing it from the joy of what, like, I can't believe I'm a number one. That's 100%. I'm number one. But what anybody that she shared that with may have meant, well, I'm not a number one. I'm less than. Mm-hmm. And now the drunk monkey. Right. And now all of a sudden, this assessment and another one like it almost destroyed Christy Wheeler, Tiffany, because it said she wasn't the CEO.
Oh, wow.
And she's the best CEO I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, that's why I pointed that out, that everybody is talent. It's just we all do certain things great.
Mm-hmm.
No, so here's the part of being here's the part of being a CEO. There's only a CEO is only as good as the CEO's team, right? So you can take Nick Saban or any football coach, and he can be the most amazing coach this year, and then you change his team and he can't win a freaking ball game. So the thing is the way you build a team around Christy Wheeler that allows her to be her and build the most powerful team in the world. We had 200 out of 400 freaking agents in the board. Jen, if you wanted to be as good as Christy Wheeler, you would have to take 2,900 board. We would have to have 1,300 real estate agents. She got half of them because she had the ability to look in your soul, see you, and say, if you do this, you'll get that, and I see you. And she was the most powerful human I've ever seen do that with people. And I can teach you how to do it. You would do it in a different flavor. So the reason I don't want anybody going and looking at this is we would actually, this person that's a KW coach who's only an 88% match might hear, well, I'm not even 100% at anything. That means that I'm not good at anything. Oh. Here's the opportunity for us. This is the words I want y'all to use if you're going to learn how to do this. What that says is that God said, I don't want you to be 100% coach sugar. I want you to need somebody. In all of your hard driving ways, if you were as 100% coach, you would decide you didn't need anybody. God made her a little off in being able to do it all by herself so that she would realize that she needs a 12% coach to fill up the gap. And when she's with me and we talk frequently, she is brilliant. You remove me, different scenario. And I'm teaching her how to do me mentally without me in the room in case they ever get in a wreck and I can't be there. And when she said, what would Chuck do? Then she would fill that gap in the void of me being there, and she'll have learned what I was here to teach her. Does that make sense? Each one of you have that same thing. I'm not a one. I'm actually only good at probably 5 things. I'll have people that say, well, I'm a high match on everything. Did you hear what Jen said? She said, I didn't think I was that smart. Jen is so good at everything that she can step in and play. Imagine a basketball team. She could step in and play almost every position good enough that everybody would say, you're a pretty good player. But she doesn't concentrate on any one thing. So nobody says you're the most amazing player in the world. All I did with Jen, pop it up. Here's what I did with Jen is when I said, so tell me what you wanted. And when she described what she wanted, and it was in an area that was in alignment with me, I knew I could then set her free. And I just simply said, okay, well, when do you want it? I wouldn't say that to a lot of people that nonchalant, but I knew that that where I was headed, I needed her, and what she was good at was what I needed. And then I could simply say, okay, what do you want then? And that's how in 87 days, she's on her 87th day. And this morning I offered her the position as the VP of production and growth in GBRMC. Took her that long. If she had done it in her style, she probably never would have gotten it. But because she listened to me, all I had to do was everything that I gave her. I just let her be concierge first. Then I let her, and Jen, this is the way this works, right? This is, each one of you would be different in how I would ask you to lead your world in business. I started out, what was your title? 87 days ago, Jen, that I let you come up with?
Chief Concierge.
Now I want y'all to watch her face. Chief Concierge. Do you think now she's a 99% match for being a concierge. Do you think when she said that she actually got to say, I get to be the chief concierge? If I'd have picked, it would not have felt good. So she started out in a position that I knew when she said that, oh, you're going to be a rock star in that. Because God made her to do that. Then she said, I want to help with the awards banquet. And I said, I wonder if she's gritty enough. So I challenged her, can you do the awards banquet? And when I challenged her, I'm like, I don't think you're good enough. I was waiting to see if she had enough chuck in her to say, what did you just say? And on a confident day, she said that. And then she very quickly told me to leave her alone and get out of her way. And I said, cool, it'll cost you your job. And I wanted to see whether she could handle the pressure of everything at stake for her and her family, that if she got it wrong, I would fire her. As a general manager and in that role, that person says, let me manage and get out of my face. And if she was strong and she did that, I knew that she probably was going to be running the company. Did I not tell you in the very first that you might be running the company?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, that will confuse some people if you don't know the org chart of Keller Williams, because people will say, well, that means she's going to take Wyatt's job. I thought Wyatt was, oh my God, are we losing Wyatt now? He's amazing. Oh, okay. No, heck no. Have y'all seen Wyatt? Like, Wyatt, did y'all see him on stage today representing us? And he's got the strongest freaking people in the board. Pat Wadham is the who's who of our real estate board, like #1 person in the state of the state of Louisiana for Remax. And she's like, can I get some advice from those GBRMC people? She's amazing. And Wyatt did that. Wyatt is in charge of taking us to a stratosphere that we never could imagine, because he thinks like this. He thinks the world is our oyster, and man, he wants everybody to get some of it, and it just breaks his heart, and he's so optimistic. He's a good blend of me and Jen and Randall.
He is.
And what's really cool is when you do this and you put all 3 of our personalities together, he actually shows up as Gabby sometimes.
This is true.
I wish I could see Gabby's face. I have to
He
figure out
calls
these
that a bad day. He calls that
Well,
a bad
actually-
day.
But see, now he thinks that's something wrong with that, right? Remember I said when your feet was propped up, I thought, Chuck, she just won. Why can't you loosen up for a little bit and enjoy and celebrate for a minute that you actually had a win? Because I don't do that for me. As soon as I win, I'm like, that's great. But then I push, which breaks me sometimes.
When not to interject, but I don't even celebrate closings anymore. Like that's a problem.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
That
know,
is
like
a problem.
I'm through the motions.
Now this is what I'm helping with. So what it is somebody said somebody stopped celebrating you making the cash register ring. That's why you don't celebrate closings. Everybody around you probably said, "So what? We know you good. Quit talking about it." And if you take somebody with Gabby's personality and you quit celebrating with her, she has no joy. It's not about the win, it's about the party.
That's
You
right.
can see, you can see it on her face too. Like you very recently tried to celebrate something and through all the commotion, it just got overlooked and your face read it all. Like you need to run down the hall and celebrate. You need to see people and physically celebrate with them. This is probably killing you.
And Randall, as the person that sees that now, your role, and I'll show you on your KPA how you could do this, and the way you would do it, it'd be a little bit different than what I'm saying. You would make sure that everybody in your organization knew that when Gabby comes running down the hall to celebrate, I don't give a damn what you're doing. You get your ass up. I'm sorry for the language, but Gary says sometimes you got to use language to make people listen, right? You would say, get your ass up. You get you out there in the hall and you clap and you cheer and you be what she needs to be, that she runs. She doesn't even stop at the back door. She runs through the freaking back door and makes cash register ring again. She's so lit up.
Well, you might not believe me, but I was head cheerleader for 7 years.
Oh my God.
Gabby, do you understand that if we make that connection, she is who for you? It can make sure that you never have to ask for people to celebrate. She gets in their face if they don't. Because me and Wyatt, as driven leaders, a lot of times I have a KPA that, and Jen, I've shared this with you. I'm going to share it again. It takes 7 times to hear it. I have a KPA that says the things that you have to have 15 things. It's like this. It's 15 things you have to do to have a successful business. Like natural as breathing comes to me in all of them but 2, and rewards for my people is almost non-existent. And it's because it doesn't matter to me. Like somebody says, hey, there's a trophy, you're the rookie of the year. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, really? I mean, I appreciate that, but I'm trying to be number 1 in the board by now. That was so like yesterday. I don't even get it because I'm on a journey to see how good I can be, and everything they said I am. I'm like, yeah, I just got that. I know that. But now let's talk about what I'm not anymore, which is why I love hanging around Lacey Corcoran, Christy Wheeler, and Ann and Gary Keller, because it doesn't matter how good I show up. They go, yeah, but you could be so much better than that. And I'm like, crap. And you're right. Let me show you. And it keeps me going. You take them out of my life, guys, I'm not this anymore. People don't understand that.
Gabby, you need to get with me because with my high I, I'm all about the celebration, baby. And I've actually cried before because I passed this really big test one time, and Matt didn't even I was like, I really want to celebrate, but he didn't take me anywhere. And then I asked Ann, I'm like, can we go out to a bar? And then we didn't go anywhere. We were too busy. And I literally sat down and cried. Like, nobody cares about me. Nobody wants to celebrate with me. I just did this really awesome thing, and all I want is for someone to celebrate with me. So I get you, Gabby. So me and you need to hook up, and we will fill each other's buckets, and we will go celebrate anytime, any place.
Deal.
Okay.
Now, when I said that if I pull up the KPA wall and I had your love languages, right? Gabby just got a team. You're not on a team. Everybody freaks out. Like, Chuck wants everybody to be on the team. No, I don't. I want us as humans to find our people and be friends in such a way that we get the piece that we need from them. Gabby on her team now actually has Tiffany that says, I'll track that. She has Jen. There is no financial compensation between them, but Jen said, I need somebody to go make me feel happy when I need it. And if I do that for you, now you'll do it for me. And then she has Randall that says, hey, I did cheerleading thing for like 7 years, right? And then she has me of going, hey guys, now that you know who Gabby is and we see this and the love languages, if anybody sees her doing anything else, you must stop her or you're going to slow your financial economic engine down from what it could be. Because if all you did was celebrate with her when she put people together and you loved on her with affirmations and cheering and saying you are amazing, and don't do it unless she is, because she'll know it. And she'll say, you're a bunch of freaking fakes and you're lying, manipulating me. She has a good emotional read on people. And if you do it out of genuineness, then she will light up and she could be the #1 salesperson in the board. I know who the #1 salesperson is for new construction, just like you do. And I told Wyatt, like, I want y'all to be able to take that prize. The person that would take that prize is you. You should be the #1 new construction agent in the entire board. And if y'all did that, Randall, if we as a company did that, we as GBRMC would have the #1 new construction person in the board, and we would get all of the sign calls that they didn't want. Now all of a sudden, Kiana's like, oh, okay, now I see what's in it for me. So what I need to do to be consistently make sure that, hey, Jen, how you doing with Gabby? Like, you cheered for her? And Kiana's good about watching, like she catches everything. And she very softly says, what about this? Because Jen might get off in shiny, shiny land and forget to check on Gabby maybe. That makes sense? So this is much bigger than what we're going to do in one class, and that's what I'm attempting to share. What I would hope would happen is for you to say it's worth doing until you personally get it, because it will transform your life. When I lost Christy Wheeler, it would be the same as me losing Amber. It would be the same as me losing my right arm. And nobody could understand that because they don't understand the KPA, so they couldn't understand how my world collapsed. And it wasn't just because she was my best friend, like Amber's my best friend. It was because everything that my KPA said I wasn't good at would only allow me to be a certain kind of leader. And with Christy, I became a leader and I owned 6 real estate companies. I was the regional director for Gary. I was winning everywhere. I felt like freaking Michael Jordan. I was winning everywhere. And I watched her and she was winning everywhere. And all of a sudden you take out from that, you suck Christy out, and that 12% off, or that 9% here, and that 14% there, or that person that I didn't have a relationship as good as I needed to, that was my accountant. And all of a sudden everything started falling apart and it collapsed. Without Christy Wheeler, I have 2 companies now. So I want y'all to listen to what I'm saying right there. Gabby, with Christy Wheeler, I had 6 companies, and I was a rock star for Keller Williams International. Without Christy, I have intentionally shrunk my world down to 2, because that's the only leader I am without a Christy. And in that, I called the head of Keller Williams International the human resources, which Jen will be. She's just like her. And I said, you knew Christy? She said, yeah. I said, you went to dinner with me and Christy looked in your soul. And she said, bam, bam, bam. And you know me. Do you know you've ever seen a KP on like her? She said, I never have. But here's 5 people that would blend together possibly. And I said, let me send you one that I think would be a strong part. And I'm still looking for the other who's. Lacey was selected after that process for the part of Christy that said, Chuck Roberts, I'm disappointed in you. And she would be merciless. She loved me. She loves everybody. But it didn't matter what I did. If I hurt somebody or if I did something that wasn't as good as she knew, she would just look at me and just take a knife and just go, I'm really disappointed in you. We are not as good separate as we are together. We have to find our who's. It will make such a difference in your life. Tiffany, you were going to say something.
Well, you said that if you didn't have your Christy, your KPA made it clear you were going to be at this level as a leader. So the goal is for us to all reach our peak performance.
And God didn't make any one of us to be, I am all that.
All
and
that.
how he did that is he said, oh, you want to get to the top of the mountain? Yeah, you're not ever going to be, because I made you so you don't even understand that there needs to be an oxygen bottle to do that. They made Randall for that. So just get egotistical, Wyatt, and climb the mountain until you run out of oxygen, and then you fall to the bottom, because until you learn the lesson and find a Randall, you're not going to take the oxygen bottle.
Real estate is one of the only professions that we think we can be great at everything. Think of all the jobs that we actually do, from contract to close. So what I'm hearing from Gabby, I know everybody's wiping their face at this point. So from contract to close, Gabby would much rather let me walk into the house, let me look at a set of floor plans, let me help you pick everything out. You happy? All right, great. She's going to take care of you, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to get the next person. That's what that's peak performance. And you talk about thriving, she will never forget her big why, because she'll be knocking that big why out of the park, and she'll be raising her big why to the next thing. But here you are sitting here trying to do contract to close, go show the house, put them all in command, do your Facebook ads, hold up your team.
Superintendent.
No,
Yeah.
let Gabby finish. Gabby, everything you just said, I would have a stop list. Randall, please do this for us. Have a poster board, right, somewhere, a big one, and say, in everything she said, I would have on the top of it in magic marker, Gabby's stop doing list. Every time she was stressed, say, what should you stop doing that you hate right now? And she'd go, blah, blah, blah. You would write it down. And that's a visual, no longer for Gabby. It's the team's responsibility to review the list and say, what is Gabby doing that she's not supposed to? And it's the team's responsibility to make her stop. Because if she didn't do those things, the economic machine that she would do would bring in so many sign calls. Like if Shane right now is a rock star, but could you imagine what it'd be if Shane had 19,000 sign calls for $500,000 luxury homes? How much he could make? And the only reason he doesn't have it is because Gabby can't do Gabby. And you would say, Shane, the next time you see Gabby doing something on this list, if you don't rack her knuckles and say, get your hands off of my plow, she's killing us financially. And it's your fault, Shane. Now you know the list. Stop doing it. Am I not doing that to Wyatt? Have I not weaned Wyatt off of everything that's not Wyatt doing what he did today? He's like, what do I do? I want to control everything. I said, you have one thing to control. Find the economic guy that everybody needs to know from, that is so powerful that everybody would get on the call. He did it. I didn't ask him again. And then bring the freaking heat. And he did it. If he did that every week, my gosh, I've been making him stop being what everybody told him he needed to be and just saying, just be Wyatt. And he said, I'm having the time of my life. Does that make sense? It's weird as a leader when you can help people. Like my whole joy comes from, because I actually get people, everybody's trying to make everybody do something. I spend my entire living, waking moments and thought process figuring out how do I get people to stop doing what God didn't make them to do. It's so joyful. And everybody else in your world, your spouse, your husband, your cousin, your brother, your nanny, everybody's trying to make you do stuff. I'm just getting you to stop doing what you ain't supposed to be doing. And then you're like, I'm so happy. That's what this is exercise. That's what this, if y'all want to do a class, well, Jen, add a series. How many days a week do y'all want to talk about this until you become who you want to be so that you're powerful beyond your own imagination? How many days a week y'all want to do that?
Twice.
Until you get it. Twice a week? Okay.
I'm going to say every day.
I'm an everyday girl too.
Okay, Randall, if you brought your entire team to my 1 hour, 5 days a week, with all of them in your team, figure out what they want to do, stop doing everything they wasn't supposed to do, and then the sales of your business would go through the roof while you just managed them all, a bunch of cheerleaders.
Yeah, my whole team needs a board like Gabby, not just Gabby. We're going to do that at our meeting next week, Gabby. We're all making our stop doing boards.
Well, actually, if you brought them on this, wouldn't they all be doing it this afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can do it twice a week and try to figure out how to lead the troops, or you could just do it with me every day and let me lead the troops. And in less than 10 days, Jen, I would have Randall running that meeting, would I not? Because her profile says she's the boss.
I mean, I'll run the meeting today.
But you're not ready. Because you said you're a doer. You're a doer. You said next Tuesday we're going to have a meeting and we're all going to, you're being a doer. A leader says we're going to all get together and I'm going to teach y'all how y'all do it. And I'm fixing to rub it in your face whenever you're not doing it, Gabby, because are you miserable? You crunching numbers in there because your mama told you you should be number cruncher because maybe her grandma was and you ain't your grandma. I asked you, why are you so miserable? You look miserable. I'm enjoying that look. That's what a leader does. They just put salt on the wounds sometimes, challenge, or say, no, let me show you what's going on. Is that not right, Jen? You've had 87 days. Kiana, am I doing that with you some? A little salt on the wound. Thought you said you want to buy a house. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
And to watch me do that. Bring your whole team on. Okay, so y'all work it out. We'll do it every day. In 10 days, y'all have gotten it and y'all can teach it. And I would ask you to do that. That work? 5 days a week, hour a day. In that, y'all won't even make it 10 days with me. I'll leave y'all with an experiment to see what it looks like. Isn't that what I do, Jen? And y'all will literally internalize this and your family and friends will love you forever. So, and you will love your life a lot better. So y'all ready? Let me show y'all a video of what motivates you. I'd love to hear your ahas after this. Can y'all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Christy Wheeler gave me this. Open up a whole nother world.
Our motivations are unbelievably interesting. I mean, I've been working on this for a few years, and I just find the topic still so amazingly engaging and interesting. So I want to tell you about that. The science is really surprising. The science is a little bit freaky, okay? We are not as endlessly manipulable and as predictable as you would think. There's a whole set of unbelievably interesting studies. I want to give you two that call into question this idea that if you reward something, you get more of the behavior you want. If you punish something, you get less of it. So let's go from London to the mean streets of Cambridge, Massachusetts, in the northeastern part of the United States. And let's talk about a study done at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Here's what they did. They took a whole group of students, and they gave them a set of challenges. Things like memorizing strings of digits, solving word puzzles, other kinds of spatial puzzles, even physical tasks like throwing a ball through a hoop. Okay, they gave them these challenges, and they said to incentivize their performance, they gave them 3 levels of rewards. Okay, so if you did pretty well, you got a small monetary reward. If you did medium well, you got a medium monetary reward. And if you did really well, if you were one of the top performers, you got a large cash prize. Okay, we've seen this movie before. This is essentially a typical motivation scheme within organizations, right? We reward the very top performers. We ignore the low performers and the other folks kind of in the middle. Okay, you get a little bit. So what happens? They do the test. They have these incentives. Here's what they found out. 1, as long as the task involved only mechanical skill, bonuses worked as they would be expected. The higher the pay, the better their performance. Okay, that makes sense. But here's what happens. But once the task called for even rudimentary cognitive skill, a larger reward led to poorer performance. Now, this is strange, right? A larger reward led to poorer performance? How can that possibly be? Now, what's interesting about this is that these folks here who did this are all economists, 2 at MIT, 1 at the University of Chicago, 1 at Carnegie Mellon, okay, the top tier of the economics profession. And they're reaching this conclusion that seems contrary to what a lot of us learned in economics, which is that the higher the reward, the better their performance. And they're saying that once you get above rudimentary cognitive skill, it's the other way around. Which seems like this kind of, the idea that these rewards don't work that way seems vaguely left-wing and socialist, doesn't it? It's kind of this kind of weird socialist conspiracy. For those of you who have those conspiracy theories, I want to point out the notoriously left-wing socialist group that financed the research, the Federal Reserve Bank. So this is the mainstream of the mainstream coming to a conclusion that's quite surprising, seems to defy the laws of behavioral physics. So this is strange. It's strange finding. So what do? They say, this is freaky. Let's go test it somewhere else. Maybe that $50 or $60 prize isn't sufficiently motivating for an MIT student, right? So let's go to a place where $50 is actually more significant relatively, right? So let's take the experiment. We're going to go to Madurai, India, rural India, where $50, $60, whatever the number was, is actually a significant sum of money. So they replicated the experiment in India roughly as follows. Small rewards, the equivalent of 2 weeks' salary. Small performance, low performance, 2 weeks' salary. Medium performance, about a month's salary. High performance, about 2 months' salary. Okay, so those are real good incentives. Okay, so you're going to get a different result here. Well, what happened, though, was that the people offered the medium reward did no better than the people offered the small reward. But this time around, the people offered the top reward. They did worst of all. Higher incentives led to worse performance. What's interesting about this is that it actually isn't all that anomalous. This has been replicated over and over and over again by psychologists, by some extent by sociologists, and by economists, over and over and over again. For simple, straightforward tasks, those kinds of incentives, if you do this, then you get that, they're great. For tasks that are algorithmic, set of rules where you have to just follow along and get a right answer, if then rewards, carrots and sticks, outstanding. But when the task gets more complicated, when it requires some conceptual creative thinking, those kinds of motivators demonstrably don't.
Randall, it's why lead motivation stops working. That's what I'd show you in 5 days. No reward, no stick, no carrot changes people when it gets like that. Make sense? Logic stops working. Everything has to be powered emotionally from inside of them, or you couldn't be. It's why Hitler lost the war, because you cannot make people do stuff, even when you kill all of their family. There's a place that they just stop and say, kill me too. I will not do what you say. That makes sense? That's
Absolutely.
what you're fighting as a manager. And when you recognize that, you'll realize that it's a fight you can't win. Jen's going to have to figure out how do you reward and consequence when sugar doesn't work, which is why I'm teaching her that sometimes it takes a stick. I only work with stick on Jen because she gets sugar. With you, I'd have to focus with you on sugar. Am I right?
True.
How long have we been knowing each other, right? I mean, we haven't spent 400 hours together. But I could say now I know what to focus on. Now, Tiffany, for you to lead the organization, you need to lead in all of the potential you have. You've got to learn both, because you go to bottom line. And you can be emotion or you can be Randall bottom line. And yet when somebody offends your way of bottom line, you just go right to their knees. Is that right, Tiffany? So Tiffany's got to be very, very aware of, is this sugar or stick? And it actually, if she's aware, it's really easy for her to do both. God made her. You want sugar? Tiffany can give you sugar. If you want stick, Tiffany can bring a stick. It might be a sledgehammer if she's not in the right frame of mind. She doesn't know which one is too much yet. And then whenever she starts to begin to think, well, maybe I don't know, and now she may go into perfectionist mode about her and try to make it perfect, which then allows her not to face. It was really a sugar or stick thing. Fair, Tiffany?
Okay.
The ones that I have here, like if y'all get this, your ability to lead organizations will be unbelievably awesome in 10 days. Jen, that's why I wanted to go ahead and do it for 10 days, is because you won't even have to make it 90 to figure out if you're good. It won't take 87 days anymore. It'll take 10, because you get to experiment and learn in here. Randall, I did this in here, and I encourage you. I normally would say 2 days, but in 10 days, I can teach you this thought process, or I can have to slow down and manage you failing more times than it would take me just to spend 10 hours teaching you. Make sense?
It does. It makes sense.
So it's just faster. So if y'all do this, you'll be good. So let me hit this one more time.
work. In fact, money is a motivator at work, but in a slightly strange way. If you don't pay people enough, they won't be motivated. What's curious about, there's another paradox here, which is that the best use of money as a motivator is to pay people enough to take the issue of money off the table. Pay people enough so that they're not thinking about money and they're thinking about the work. Now, once you do that, it turns out there are 3 factors that the science shows lead to better performance, not to mention personal satisfaction. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy is our desire to be self-directed, to direct our own lives. Now, in many ways, traditional notions of management...
What did I say? That manage your own life. Jen, Randall, Tiffany, haven't had conversations that all I'm here to, and my biggest joy is to free people so that they live their own life. Now, every human desires to live their own life and be happy. That's what everybody wants. Even the ones that are miserable and you can't make happy, that's all they want. God made us that way. Even if it's, I want to live my own life and it makes me happy to be miserable, leave me alone. They're still getting that thing. As managers and leaders, when you know that, just set people free. But make sure when you're listening to set them free that you know strategically when they get free, they will win in this area or else you will harm them, which is what we'll teach over the next 10 days, which is why I stopped and spent so much time on the KPA wall. Now you don't have to worry about, Jen, you've never sold a freaking house. But if you'll embrace, you're going to hurt somebody if you match somebody that is an accountant and to put them in the buyer agent profile, even if they say, I just want to be a buyer's agent. What they heard was, so-and-so makes so much money working with buyers. I want more money. That's the only human I know that makes money. So let me be a buyer's agent. And you're like, sugar, it would suck so much energy out of you. You don't want to do that. If I could show you how to make more money like that other person, and I could do it in a way that it would fit you, would you want to do that? And they'll go, well, yeah. Let me introduce you to a webmaster. I'm going to show you how to get 27 leads a day and make sure that buyer agent has it. And they'll go, oh my God. Make sense? Now you don't even know how to sell real estate. I can send you to an org chart that tells you, don't play match.com. Don't let people marry other people in roles that God didn't make them for, or they'll be just an abusive relationship.
Afoul of that. Management is great if you want compliance, but if you want engagement, which is what we want in the workforce today as people are doing more complicated, sophisticated things, self-direction is better. Let me give you some examples of this, of almost radical forms of self-direction in the workplace that lead to good results. Let's start with this company right here, Atlassian, an Australian company. It's a software company, and they do something really cool. Once a quarter on a Thursday afternoon, they say to their developers, for the next 24 hours, you can work on anything you want. You can work on it the way you want. You can work on it with whomever you want. All we ask is that you show the results to the company at the end of those 24 hours in this fun kind of meeting, not a star chamber session, but this fun meeting with beer and cake and fun and other things like that. It turns out that that one day of pure, undiluted autonomy has led to a whole array of fixes for existing software, a whole array of ideas for new products that otherwise had never emerged. One day. Now, this is not an if-then incentive. This is not the sort of thing that I would have done 3 years ago before I knew this research. I would have said, you want people to be creative and innovative? Give them a freaking innovation bonus. If you can do something cool, I'll give you $2,500. They're not doing this at all. They're essentially saying, you probably want to do something interesting. Let me just get out of your way. One day of autonomy produces things that had never emerged. Right, let's talk about mastery. Mastery is our urge to get better at stuff. We like to get better at stuff. This is why people play musical instruments on the weekend. You got all these people who are acting in ways that seem irrational economically. They play musical instruments on weekends. Why? It's not going to get them a mate. It's not going to make them any money. Why are they doing it? Because it's fun, because you get better at it, and that's satisfying. Go back in time a little bit. I imagine this if I went to my first economics professor, a woman named Mary Alice Schulman, and I went to her in 1983 and said, Professor Schulman, can I talk to you after class for a moment? Yeah. I got this inkling. I got this idea for a business model. I just want to run it past you. Here's how it would work. You get a bunch of people around the world who are doing highly skilled work, but they're willing to do it for free and volunteer their time, 20, sometimes 30 hours a week. Okay, she's looking at you somewhat skeptically there. Oh, but I'm not done. And then what they create, they give it away rather than sell it. It's going to be huge. I mean, she truly would have thought I was insane. Okay, it seemed to fly in the face of so many things. But what do you have? You have Linux powering 1 out of 4 corporate servers in Fortune 500 companies, Apache powering more than the majority of web servers, Wikipedia. What's going on? Why are people doing this? Why are these people, many of whom are technically sophisticated, highly skilled people who have jobs? Okay? They have jobs. They're working at jobs for pay, doing sophisticated technological work. And yet, during their limited discretionary time, they do equally, if not more, technically sophisticated work, not for their employer, but for someone else for free. That's a strange economic behavior. Economists who look into it, why are they doing this? It's overwhelmingly clear. Challenge and mastery, along with making a contribution. That's it. What you see more and more is a rise of what you might call the purpose motive, is that more and more organizations want to have some kind of transcendent purpose, partly because it makes coming to work better, partly because that's the way to get better talent. And what we're seeing now is, in some ways, when the profit motive becomes unmoored from the purpose motive, bad things happen. Bad things ethically sometimes, but also bad things just like not good stuff, like crappy products, like lame services, like uninspiring places to work. That when the profit motive is paramount, or when it becomes completely unhitched from the purpose motive, it's just, people don't do great things. More and more organizations are realizing this and sort of disturbing the categories between what's profit and what's purpose. And I think that actually heralds something interesting. And I think that the organizations that are flourishing, whether they're profit, for profit, or somewhere in between, are animated by this purpose model. Let me give you a couple of examples. Here's the founder of Skype. He says, our goal is to be disruptive, but in the cause of making the world a better place. Pretty good purpose. Here's Steve Jobs. I want to put a ding in the universe. All right? That's the kind of thing that might get you up in the morning and racing to go to work. So I think that, that we are purpose maximizers, not only profit maximizers. I think the science shows that we care about mastery very, very deeply. And the science shows that we want to be self-directed. And I think that the big takeaway here is that if we start treating people like people and not assuming that they're simply horses, slower, smaller, better-smelling horses, if we get past this kind of ideology of carrots and sticks and look at the science, I think we can actually build organizations and work lives that make us better off, but I also think they have the promise to make our world just a little bit better.
What is your aha? Other than people are not horses, only smell better.
So my aha might take too long because I have a whole story of this aha.
So why don't you wrap it up? Can you wrap with that? Because I want to hear it. And if somebody needs to get off, they can hop off if they want to, but I want to hear it because it's going to have something powerful I need to know. Who else has an aha?
It reminds me of Oprah's famous quote, do what you love, money will come.
And that's not true. See, that's a lie.
Okay.
Because I love helping charities and I love helping people in business. Until I learned that you help people during your business hours, do what you help them in a way that you're in alignment with the ones that their consequences and rewards would cause you to have money. And if you do it with them, you'll make money. If you're not doing it with that, then go out and do charity work so you're very clear what it is. Most good people that are servant leaders hear that line and they work their life away with people who their cash flow is not in connection. It would be like me going, if I read that line to the T, Tiffany, I could wind up in Coal Banker's midst, helping everybody at Coal Banker get everything they wanted, and I financially would go bankrupt. It is not true. It's one as a leader, you have to listen, is the one I'm pouring into. If I give them all of me, will I get resources back that allows me to then give to my family? And if the answer is no, you teach, and then you release them and let them go do what they do, but they have other people that does that. Fastest way to go bankrupt as a servant leader is serving people that are not connected. You have to get very clear about that. And then open up opportunities where more of them can join you, but they have to be clear. Okay? Make sense, Tiffany?
It does, yes.
It's why I see you struggle sometimes. What else? Kiana, talk to me. You said you had seen this earlier today before?
Well, this video, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. What was it that you said you'd watch? I was going through my text.
I sent you a video from Transformation Church on relationships.
Oh, okay. I didn't open it up. So perfect. Okay.
Video.
Okay. So I'd love to hear about that. When we get back together, let's hear about that and then give me a chance to watch it. Okay. Any eyes from
Design to do life alone. No.
Okay. Any ahas from today, Kiana? For you?
It's a lot. I'm determined to learn more about myself and how I can help others get what they want.
In such a way that you get what you want?
Absolutely.
I need y'all to say that into that sentence, or you will train wreck yourself. You hear what? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You help other people get what they want so that you get what you want. Now that sounds self-serving when I say that, right? But also know as humans, you're not going to give all of you to anybody unless you can get what you want to. So you actually cheat people. If we're all grown-ups, right? You could be righteous and say, no, I just give to people and it's all about them. Well, you only give a little part of you if you give it all about them, and you know that if Randall, I can't give you all of me. I can give you the parts of me that can create a wind that flows back. As a direct report, I can give Jen all of me. I can give Wyatt all of me. Because if I pour every bit of my energy into Wyatt, the power of that will go so fast and so big that then I would receive enough back to cash flow again. If I do it with Jen, then I would receive enough if she moves fast enough to cash flow again. If I do it with you, Wyatt's team is going to explode in growth, and you're in a cap model. And I would pay all of the bills and I would still be short, and I would not get any for my wife and my kids. And then I would go bankrupt, and you'd go, Chuck, why did you leave me? And I couldn't even explain to you because I poured into an economic channel that there was enough. And my wife said, we have nothing to eat. My actions forced me to lose you. If we all can understand that, right? But what I can do is do it so that Wyatt takes so much off of my plate because he's winning so big and everywhere. And Ann and Lacey and Tiffany and my direct reports, and all of a sudden for fun, I'm like, I'm going to pour you because I just enjoy you. And now everybody's doing their piece and I've got free time, and I'm going to explode you in 5 hours a week for the next 10 days. I'm going to get spend 10 hours with you. You're going to get me every day for 10 days because Wyatt's getting stronger. Jen's getting stronger. Staying close to my 3-foot circle all of a sudden allows you to get 10 hours of me that most people wouldn't, because now all of a sudden I can do it simultaneously at all time. And then we can really dive into each other. Because hopefully this is why I like doing life with each other, because over between now and 104 years old, you will wind up being in my 3-foot circle, because I have a belief that everybody needs a Randall. I need you. Make sense? Okay. So share with us so we can wrap up, and tell us what were you going to need to share?
So we've had this conversation a lot about my high S. And I'm familiar with Daniel Pink from teaching it to my past organization. And so my whole thought started with thinking about people doing things for free because of their, the passion and love for it. And so when we're thinking about Daniel Pink and we're thinking about all the different studies that we watched, people can do that, and their motivation can be something other than money. But it came full circle all the way in the end when it said profit and purpose. Because if you're fulfilling your purpose, and for people like me and a lot of other people that I've heard today and on other calls this week say that they like to make other people happy, like Gabby, or they like to make sure that they're doing stuff for this and supporting this person and being leaned on for that. So many people have that about them that it originally is their motivator and their purpose. But if you push and give all that you have to support others, you will emotionally drain yourself, and therefore your purpose no longer fills you up and no longer makes you happy if that profit isn't there supporting you. So you were pushing the other day in our leadership text message, and I'm like, Chuck, I can't deal with Chuck right now. I just can't deal with this. And I thought, quit asking me how much money I want to make, because money isn't my motivator. But the reality, in my past job, I was doing a job for free for a long time because I loved it. But there came a point in time where I had to get compensated for it, which I did for a really long time. But if you are not compensated for something that you give everything to, everything else in your world will fall in place. It will just fall out of place.
And so many leaders don't understand that the reason that I would lose you, or the reason they would lose you, is that you will get to a place where you're so broke that you realize you can't even take care of your family, and you don't leave me. You leave so that you can make enough money to not have to leave your kid, right? To not have to leave your family and to not have to move in with your parents or whatever. And as leaders, a lot of times I see young leadership that say, well, heck, I don't, I have a partner that looked at me 1 September ago. And I said, I'm going to try not to say this person's name. I said, going into next year, what's the vision? What's the goal? We talked. He said, blah, blah, blah. I said, good, I'm good with that. Now, here's the challenge. This year I did it for free. We need to talk about compensation for next year. He looked me straight in the eye and he said, why would I pay you when you'll do it for free? I understand economic chain without, right. I just said, he's sitting beside his wife. I'm sitting beside my wife. I said, I need you to say that one more time. I showed no emotion. I already knew how he thought. I said, say that one more time because I don't sure understand you. He looked at me just straight in the eye without any emotion. He said, why would I pay when you do it for free? In other words, I'm going to hold my money because I wanted his salary because I was doing his job. And I said, well, that won't work for me. Still very controlling my emotions, Tiffany. I didn't go chop his leg out. Bottom line, I'm controlling my emotion to see what kind of a partner I have. And I said, I get that. And so now I'm good with it. You keep the money. I need to give you the job back. And he goes, I don't want the job. I have no intention of ever doing that. I said, hold on, let me breathe in, Tiffany, breathe. And I'm like, will you try? Okay, I just need to get clarity. So you're saying that you don't want the job, you're never going to take it back, which means we're in business together, which means it's going to fail. Well, if somebody doesn't do it, and you want to continue receiving money for nothing while I make sure it doesn't fail. Well, that's what we've done so far. And I said, I know, because I was making a major transition and it made sense for me, and you knew that, and it didn't make sense. What do you want to do? He said, well, I'm not giving up my money. I said, cool. In 30 days, we'll be out of business with each other. You make me an offer to buy me out, or I'll make you to buy you out. But I'm done here, and I got real straight. And he goes, oh, you don't have to get all. I said, no, I just needed to see who you were. Now you show me who you was. In 30 days, we're out. And in 30 days, we bought each other out. We're still friends. I wasn't mad at him. He's not mad at me. I made sure. But I was no longer willing to be in a relationship that was that way. Tiffany, that's how you breathe. And you don't go bottom line until you know what the next step and why and how. And then you don't be attached. There's no need me being mad at him. Make sense? But it was no longer good for my family. And I'm like you, Randall, my heart's so big. I literally have to say, what's fair for my family? What's fair for you? If I can do that, I'll make a good decision that the cash flows through me to my family. Now it's not about me, because I will just give you my freaking shirt. I'll give you everything until I'm bankrupt. But I would never do that to them. So I just find myself, and for those that have really big hearts, you have to put a face of a kid, put a face of something and say, I'm not doing it for me. I just have to make sure they have enough. And we make sure they have enough. And now all of a sudden you will find yourself as a leader going, guys, Gabby needs to make it rain because it's for them and it fills her full of joy. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep. If you don't, somebody's going to get paid for it. So if you're doing it, it might as well be you.
Whoever makes it rain should get paid. And whoever handles and processes the rain that falls in the bucket should get paid. And everybody should have a very clear understanding of how that works, and all of them agree to it 100%. And when they do, they should do their job until they're ready to recompensate or re-have a conversation. And that is the way life works. That make sense? That's what we're going to be talking about. What motivates you? Now what pays you? That's what next session will be about, which is the big why exercise. Then after that, it'll be, what is it in your body, your mindset, and the people around you that's going to keep you from getting that? And how do you make sure you teach them? Hold on, what? I missed that. What did you say? Without getting upset about it, because you already know that human in that org chart is naturally going to bend this way or that way. And you recognize what people are going to do before they do it. And you don't have to freak out, because you know this is how they handle conflict. No freaking out when you know the answer on the other side of it.
That's good stuff.
That's what we're here for. All right, guys. Thank y'all for being on. If you need something, let me know.
Thanks, Chuck.
You bet.
I need to go through my KPA soon.
Sounds good. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.